You built the thing and it works. You opened it on your phone and it did what you asked it to do. Maybe you showed somebody and they were impressed and you were, proud of it, and you should be. Then a week later, you wanted to change one small thing, move a button or add a field, fix the bit that was annoying you. So you asked for it and something else broke, something you weren't anywhere near. That's the moment I want to spend the next few minutes on, because it's not a bug, it's a bill arriving, and nobody told you it was running. First, let's be straight about what happened here. There's a lot of sneering about it, and none of it's coming from me. You described something you wanted in ordinary words, and working software came out the other end. 10 years ago, that took a team, a budget, and about 4 months. You did it on a Saturday. And it's not a trick and it's not cheating. It's just the newest thing that's happened to software in my working life. So nothing I'm about to say is an argument that you shouldn't have built it. Keep hold of that, because the rest of this only makes sense if we agree on it. Now, why did the second change go so much worse than the first one? Start with what it cost you to say yes. When the model hands you 30 lines and the screen does the right thing, you have two options. You can read those 30 lines, work out what each one does, and decide whether you agree with them, and that's, maybe 20 minutes. It's real work. Or you can accept it and ask for the next thing, and that's 4 seconds. Nobody chooses 20 minutes over 4 seconds 40 times in an afternoon. You didn't take a shortcut, you responded to the prices in front of you, and so would I. But look at what each of those choices leaves behind. Accepting adds working software. It adds nothing to your picture of how the software works. Do that 40 times and you have a system that does 40 things, and a mental model that covers almost none of them. There's a company called GitClear that measures this. They sell code analysis tools, so treat them as an interested party, but they have the latest data set anyone's published. They looked at 211 million changed lines of code across 5 years. The share of work that was reorganizing existing code fell from about 24% to under 10%. The share that was copied and pasted went up. And in 2024, for the first time they'd ever recorded, copying overtook reorganizing. That's a very dry way of describing something quite human. Reorganizing code means going back into something you already built and making it simpler. It's how a system stays small enough to hold in your head. It's the one thing that requires you to understand what's already there. So it's the first thing to go when understanding is the expensive part. Copying is the opposite. It's fast, it works, and it quietly puts the same idea in 4 places. Now, change that idea. You have to find all 4, and you don't know there are 4 because you never read them. There's academic work on this, going back long before any of us were prompting anything. Researchers followed 4 open source projects across thousands of revisions. Of the duplicated code that ever needed a bug fix, up to a third was carrying a bug copied in from somewhere else. So here's where you actually are after that Saturday. You have a system whose behavior is now larger than your picture of it, and the gap between those two things grew every time you said yes. While you were only adding, the gap didn't cost you anything. Adding doesn't need the picture. Changing does. A change is a prediction. You're saying that if you alter this, that will happen and nothing else will. And you can only make that prediction from the picture you never built. And predictions are cheap to make and expensive to be wrong about. That's true of a bridge, a business plan, or 400 lines of something you didn't read. The first change was safe because the app was still small enough that guessing worked. That's not a skill you had, that's a size you had. That leads to the part I find uncomfortable, and it isn't the breakage. It's what happens next. Something broke, so you describe the breakage, and you ask for a fix, and you get one, and the screen looks right again. Now, answer me this. Was that a fix, or was that a second change that happens to hide the first one? You can't tell, and it's not because you're careless, but it's because telling those two apart needs exactly the model you skipped. That's the bill, not the broken button, the fact that you can no longer tell whether you fixed something or buried it. And I want to be careful here because it would be easy to tell you this is a beginner problem, and it isn't. Google has run a study every year called the State of DevOps Report. It's the closest thing this industry has to a census, and Google doesn't sell you a coding assistant. In 2024, they looked at what happens to professional teams as they adopt AI, and they found two things at once. Individual productivity went up, so did flow and job satisfaction. The people using it were faster and happier, and that's measured, not claimed. And delivery stability went down. For every 25% increase in AI adoption, they estimated a 7.2% drop. Stability is the boring word for how often a change breaks something and has to be undone. More work, done faster, breaking more often. Think about what has to be true for that number to happen. Somebody ships more, faster, and feeling good about it. And a larger share of what they ship comes back. The researchers described their own result as surprising, which I appreciated. Nobody went looking for that. And one caveat that matters, those are professional software teams, not somebody building an app from a prompt on a Saturday. That's not your situation. I'm not using it to say you're worse than them. I'm using it the other way around. These are people who do this for a living, with tests, reviews, and a colleague who knows the system. If they still measure that cost, it isn't a skill problem. It's structural. So what was the person you didn't hire actually doing? Well, they weren't typing. Typing was never the expensive part, and anybody who's done the job will tell you the same. They were holding the model. They knew that this thing over here talks to that thing over there, so touching one meant checking the other. That's the bit you can't buy in 4 seconds. It's the bit that got quietly left out of the deal. And I want to be fair to the trade because this gets caricatured in both directions. Plenty of software people spent years being paid to type things a machine can now type in a second. Pretending otherwise doesn't help anyone. But the ones who were worth their salary were never selling you the typing. They were selling you the answer to one question. If we do this, what else moves? That question doesn't get cheaper when the code gets cheaper. It gets more valuable because there's more code to move. Now, here's what I think is the most interesting thing I found while I was researching this. I went through a pile of the most popular videos about building apps with AI. Millions of views between them. Useful, most of them. And almost every one of them ends at the same place. It works. Here it is, running, well done. The audience noticed before I did. Underneath one of them, somebody had written this: 30 minutes prompting, 30 minutes testing, then 5 hours reverse engineering it to figure out why it works that way. 30 minutes to build, 5 hours to understand. That ratio is the whole thing. And it's in a comment, not the video. Under another one, somebody said the most important lesson wasn't in the video at all, that you have to be clear about what you actually want before you start. And under a third, somebody said most of us already know about these tools. What we want isn't how to make more apps. People have worked out that the missing skill isn't coding and it isn't the tool. They're asking to be moved on. And mostly, nobody's moving them on. So let me say plainly what I think you took on when you built that thing. It's the answer to the question we started with. You didn't take on writing it, you took on knowing why it works. That job didn't disappear when the typing got cheap. It just stopped being handed to you with the code. So the work didn't go away, it just changed shape. It used to arrive as writing, and now it arrives as reading. And reading is the part we're all skipping. That brings me to the small thing, and it is small. Next time you accept something and it works, before you ask for the next thing, ask one question instead. Ask it to explain what it just did and where else in the app that same idea already appears. It takes 30 seconds, and it won't give you a computer science degree, but it starts building the picture you're going to need in week 3, and it costs you almost nothing today. I'd like to hear how this has gone for you. If you've built something with AI and then had to live with it, I'm curious where it first bit you and whether you saw it coming. I don't think most of us do. If this was useful, my book, Founders Who Finish, is at davesaunders.net, along with my newsletter, The Build. And subscribing here really helps. Thank you.